I don't know if you might have seen this comic circulating on the internet, and there's two little figures, and there's 2018 is on the ground in front of them, and the first person says, "What do you think is going to happen this year?" And the second person, who's down on their knees, says, "Flowers. I think there's going to be flowers." And the first person goes, "Why do you think that?" And the second person goes, "Because I'm planting them." That's why they're down on their knees, because they're planting the flower. So it's a new year. It's a time that people make all sorts of promises to themselves. We call them resolutions. Did you know? I love the internet. You can find out so many interesting things. The Babylonians were the first civilization to leave records of New Year's festivities. 4,000 years ago. Now their New Year's was really linked to the agricultural season, but they actually made promises to the gods they would, repay their debts and things like that. So this whole idea of starting anew in the new year is not a new thing. Everybody was so picky. Okay. But making resolutions involves work. So I found actual studies about how people change you have to actually rewire your brain and change your thinking. You can't just decide that you are going to do something. That doesn't get you anywhere. You have to actually rewire your brain, according to a whole bunch of psychologists who've done these studies. They used MRIs to actually scan people's brains and show that you can do that. And I'm trying to. So you can create new neural pathways and new memories. You can do this, and that's how you actually change your behavior, is by changing how you think about things, right? So it's not as simple as just deciding you're going to, climb a mountain. You have to believe it and change your brain to believe it. So according to this article in Psychology Today, they have a list on, if you think you actually are going to try to make a resolution, they have a list of ways to make that happen. Focus on the resolution rather than one. Focus on one instead of several. And make it specific and realistic. Like their example is losing 10 pounds in 90 days would be a specific goal instead of I'm going to lose weight. It's not very specific. Don't wait till New Year's Eve to make resolutions. Making a change is a year-long process. It's a everyday process, I would say. Every day we get to choose again, right? Have small steps. A lot of people quit because they're going to do some big thing. I'm going to climb a big mountain. Okay, well, have you climbed any little mountains lately? Maybe going for a walk around the park is a good first step, right? So that's much more reasonable. You might give up. You're like, well, I'm never going to make that. Okay, well, how about, like I said, let's go walk around the lake first. Okay, we can make that goal. Okay, what's the next goal? What's the next goal? Here's another one that I really like, which is to have an accountability buddy. Someone close to you who you have to report. It's really good to have an accountability buddy. And I would say that it's really good to not live with your accountability buddy. Because there's so many other complicated things in relationship, no matter what the relationship is. When you live with the person, your accountability, it gets a little harder. It's a little easier when Meredith texts me every Friday and says, it's book day, and it reminds me, oh yes, I need to write a chapter of my book, because Meredith's going to be on me if I'm not. It's really helpful. So thank you, because it's making it happen for me. If she didn't remind me every week, I would totally forget, or I would slack off. So it's very helpful. to have someone to help you stay on track. And it can be someone you live with, but I do recommend if you can find someone you don't live with, it's probably better. Celebrate your success and milestones. I walked around the lake. All right, now I walked around the lake twice. We're going to assume it's kind of a big lake, so it's actually, it's a pretty good thing. But whatever it is, right? So we celebrate every time that we have. Now, probably if you're trying to lose weight, celebrating by having cake is probably not the way to do it, but you can probably find other ways to celebrate. Focus your thinking on new behaviors and thought patterns. Because if we're trying to create new neural pathways, right, we actually have to change our thoughts about these things to be able to create those new pathways, because we have to make those new pathways be the default for our brain. It might take a while for that to happen. And then another one, a really good one, focus on the present. What can I do today towards my goal? Not, well, I'm going to start on Monday, or I'm going to start at the beginning of the year, or I'm going to start on my birthday, or whatever time in the future you're going to start. What can you do today? It could be something as simple as like, I'm going to find my gripper shoes, which if you haven't found them by now, that you're already behind the game, because I don't know if you've seen the sidewalks, but that's the first step, right? Whatever that first step is, take it. There's no tomorrow, no waiting for tomorrow. It needs to happen. And then, of course, they say, be mindful. If we are aware of what's going on in our minds about how we feel about these things, and what's going on moment to moment, instead of living in the past or in the future, that's helpful as well. But, so all of that's about resolutions, and it's good advice about how to change your life and how to make steps. But Whitestone, which is what we're doing today, is actually not the same as a New Year's resolution. All that was just really good information I wanted to share with you. And it helps for a lot of things. But the Whitestone ceremony is about intention, which is different than a resolution. It may sound the same. Resolution, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to climb a mountain. I'm going to I'm going to write a book, whatever that is. It's great. Those are good things. And intention is, how do I want to be? Who am I going to show up as? See the difference? And so, who am I going to be? What's your theme for the year? This is not a cognitive thinking thing. This is a heart thing. Not that you can really totally separate those things. But you don't make an analytical plan about who you're going to be. You let your heart lead about who you want to be, how you want to show up. And then when you make a goof up, because inevitably you will make a goof up, both on your resolutions and your intentions, you say, that's nice, what can I learn from that? And you get back on the wagon, right? I think that's one of the biggest problems people have with resolutions. I mean, everybody knows that people make resolutions and usually they don't keep them, right? That's kind of like part of the joke about New Year's resolutions in general. And part of it is that we make them too big, and part of it is because it seems so big and hard, that when we mess up, we just give up, because we haven't retrained our brain into who we want to be. But when we're setting an intention about who we want to show up as, well, of course, previous ways of being are going to pop out every now and then, because we're retraining ourselves. When you're teaching a puppy to take care of the puppy's business outdoors, there probably are going to be some goof ups, right? But you don't, because they goof up once, decide, oh, never mind, this is not going to work. You say, nope, we're going to continue to retrain you. We're going to continue to retrain you, right? Why wouldn't we do the same thing with ourselves, with our own brains, our own habits, our own beliefs about ourselves? So if you look in the mirror and go, ugh, okay, we can retrain that until we stop doing that. But it might take some time because we've created that pathway so well. So there's a lot about where the white stone ceremony came from, and I'm not really interested in telling you about it because we can talk about it some other. You can go back and watch the video from last year. You can watch it. I didn't really want to copy last year's talk. That seems silly, but it's all the same information. Because really, what's important is that we pick a stone, and you'll get a chance later. You're going to come up, and you're going to take a moment and choose a stone, and then we'll take some time, a meditation time, and you may, during your meditation time, have a real moment of clarity about what that word. And really, these are not big enough for you to write a novel. This is a word, maybe two. Because an intention should be something that is clear and concise. It's not, my intention is to be a nicer person when the da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. No. Maybe my intention is kindness. Maybe that's who I am this year. Maybe my intention this year is brave. Maybe my intention this year is to love fully, fiercely. Could be mindfulness. Could be peace. It could be one word, maybe two. Because those are really powerful words. One year, it was the year I graduated from seminary, and I had no idea what was going to happen after I got done with school, and I was engaged but about to get married in the next couple months. My dad had just passed away. It was quite a year. And I had no idea what was going to happen or where we were going to move or anything. You know what my word was for that year, just to keep me grounded in the truth of who I was? The word was unwritten. As in, the future is unwritten. So I don't need to know what it is. I just need to be here now. And that gave me so much comfort and truth that all I need to do is this right here, right now. And of all the intentions of all the years I've done white stone ceremony, it's the only one I remember. I have minister friends who have all of them lined up on their thing, and they have all the ones from all the years, and they can tell you all the stories about it, but I can only tell you that story is the only one I remember because it was so important to me. So you may have that clarity. That word might be screaming out to you already. And it might not come to you until next week. Both of those are okay. But I suggest, if you don't have it yet, keep it in your pocket. Take the stone with you. What is it that wants to remind you? Because the power's not in the stone, it's just our reminder. And then put it somewhere where you remember. You see it. It's on your dresser or wherever is your little place. You keep important things. Because the white stone is supposed to symbolize freedom. Freedom from the past, freedom from old thoughts, right? New neural pathways is what it represents. But when they were putting together the white stone ceremony, they didn't understand things like neural pathways, so they didn't call it that. Apparently this is my rock because it's the one I picked up and I don't want to put it down. So, you can't have this one. Because your rock is here somewhere on the thing. And when you come up here, grab a pencil, because pencils and felt tip pens will write on these rocks. Ballpoint pens will not. So pencils are the way to go. we're going to kind of get still again, go a little bit into a little meditation, and then when you are feeling it, you come up, take a moment to select your rock, and then we'll continue to meditate for a while and just sit in that space and say, hold your rock. What is my intention for the year? Who have I come here to be? Who do I want to be this year? How do I want to reroute my neural pathways? And if that comes in the time that we're here, then you can write it on your rock. If it doesn't, that's okay. It will come. So let's just settle in for a minute. And we can set aside the concerns and the worries or whatever else is going on to the day, and just allow ourselves that openness, the spaciousness of being here now. Opening the door to the question, who am I to be? How do I want to show up? What do I want to remember this year? As you come forward and select your stone in your own time, we ask those questions. Who have I come here to be? How do I want to show up? What do I want to remember for the coming year? Who have I come here to be? How do I want to show up? What do I want my guiding word to be for the year? Who have I come here to be? How do I want to show up? What do I want to remember for the coming year? As I said, maybe you know your word. Maybe you don't yet. It is coming to you. And these intentions are not a limitation, but a freedom. A door opening into a new way of being. A new way of seeing. A new way of understanding and being in the world. And they are a reminder, in case we forget, to come back to the truth of who we are and the truth of who we know we are and who we've come here to be. So if you have your word, just invite you to take a moment to cement that deep in your heart. I have come here to be. Fill in your word. Just take a moment to say that to yourself. If you don't have your word yet, you can do this practice whenever you have your word. And we continue to stay open the next days and weeks. Maybe there's a tweaking that needs to happen, and maybe not. See what you can learn about yourself by being whatever that intention is. And so we will bring our meditation, our intention time to a close, knowing those answers will come forth if they haven't yet, and that great intentions and great things are being created here in this space this morning in our community of Anchorage. That's exciting. And so it is. So we let it be.